law of shadow gravity that every dark chosen one must face. There is a moment in every soul's journey where the light no longer answers. The silence becomes so loud that it devours the last echo of your own voice. And in that silence, something ancient stirs, something heavy, something dark. This is where the law of shadow gravity begins to wrap itself around you. But let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were being pulled downward, not just emotionally but spiritually? Like some unseen force was dragging you into the underworld of your own being, where all your secrets and suppressed instincts live. That pull, that relentless descent, that is the first whisper of shadow gravity.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
You see, in the spiritual world, we often glorify the ascent, enlightenment, higher vibration, light codes, celestial unions, but we rarely speak of the descent, of the weight, of the gravitational pull that drags certain souls into the darker realms, not to punish them, but to awaken them. If you're here listening, maybe you are one of them. Maybe you are a dark chosen one. I was. I didn't choose the darkness, it chose me. It crawled into my dreams, into my bones, into my silence. And when it did, it didn't greet me with terror, it greeted me with truth. The kind of truth that burns, the kind of truth that unravels everything you thought you were. That's when I learned shadow gravity doesn't pull you into hell, it pulls you into you. The parts of you you never dared to meet. This law isn't written in any holy book, but it's etched into the bones of those who walk the hidden path. It is the mysterious force that activates when you begin to awaken, not into bliss but into burden, into the sacred responsibility of carrying your own shadow, of confronting every lie you ever whispered to yourself, of standing in front of the mirror and asking, "Who am I when the light is gone?" And here's the paradox. The more awakened you become, the heavier the shadow becomes, because awareness is like a lamp, and that lamp casts shadows as well as light. The brighter you burn, the longer your shadow stretches behind you. That's the gravity, that's the law. You cannot rise without dragging your darkness with you. Unless you face it, know it, integrate it, most people run from it. They escape into distractions, money, fame, relationships, even false light. But the dark chosen ones, oh, we don't get to run. We are shackled to our shadow until we learn to dance with it, until we learn to speak its language, until we realize it is not here to destroy us, but to forge us. Think about it. Every myth, every ancient story, every hero's journey, it always begins with descent into the cave, into the underworld, into the abyss. Why do you think that is? Why does the hero always have to go down before they can rise? Because the shadow is the initiator, the gatekeeper, the silent judge of whether you are ready to carry real power. You want spiritual power. You want to awaken hidden gifts. Then you must meet the part of you that you're most afraid of. The part that sabotages you. The part that hates. The part that envies. That lies. That wants to dominate. Not to indulge it, but to understand it. To master it. Because if you don't, It will master you, and this is where the law of shadow gravity becomes most dangerous. It doesn't just pull you down, it shows you who you really are when no one is watching, when there's no applause, when the followers disappear, when the guru's voice fades. It shows you the raw, unfiltered essence of what you've become and what you've avoided. Are you brave enough to look? Are you brave enough to sit in your own darkness and say, I see you, not as an enemy, not as a mistake, but as a part of you that is just as divine as your light? Because here's the deepest truth of all. There is no separation. Light and dark are two lovers in a cosmic dance. And the dark chosen one, we are the bridge. I remember the first time I truly felt the gravity. I was in complete silence for days. No phone, no distractions. Just me, a journal, and the storm inside my own mind. Slowly the masks began to fall off. The spiritual one, the wise one, the peaceful one, until I was left with something raw, something primal, something terrifyingly honest. Fear and fear. If not pain, then at least I broke. I cried, I screamed into the void, and the void screamed back, not with words, but with memories, with truths I had buried, with pain I had avoided, and in that moment, I understood. This gravity wasn't here to crush me, it was here to purify me. Let me ask you again, what are you running from? What truth are you terrified to admit to yourself? Because that is the weight that is pulling you down. That is the law in action, and until you face it, you will feel like you are drowning in your own life. But once you face it, once you stop fighting the descent, you find something surprising. You find stillness. You find clarity. You find a version of yourself that is not afraid anymore. Not because the fear is gone, but because you have befriended it. That is what the darkness teaches. Not how to escape fear, but how to walk with it. How to sit with your demons and say, I see you, I honor you, but I am not you. And in that moment you become free, not from the shadow, but from your resistance to it. Do you understand now? The law of shadow gravity is not a punishment, it's a rite of passage. It's the universe saying you are ready to carry more truth, more responsibility, more power, but only if you are willing to descend first. And in that descent you will lose things, friends, illusions, comforts, but what you gain will be greater than anything you can imagine. You gain yourself, the real you, the whole you, not just the light, not just the love, but the wild, raw, ancient self that has been waiting in the dark for you to come home. Because the darkness isn't evil. It's not your enemy. It's your teacher, your mirror, your forge. And if you're brave enough to walk into it, you will discover a power that no one can take from you. A truth that no one can corrupt. A presence that doesn't need to be seen to be felt. That is what makes a dark chosen one unstoppable. Not that we have no fear, but that we have walked through it. Not that we are perfect, but that we are whole, and wholeness is where real power lives. The weight you cannot escape, when the darkness chooses you back. There comes a time when the shadow no longer waits in the corner. It steps forward, it looks you in the eye, it doesn't whisper anymore, it speaks. And what it says is not a riddle, not a threat, but a vow. I am not done with you. And in that moment, you understand something that no book, no guru, no ceremony could teach you. You realize that you didn't stumble into the darkness. You didn't fall. You were summoned. The darkness chose you back. This is the moment where most people turn around. They retreat. They grasp for the familiar comfort of spiritual routines, of lightening teachings, of safe meditations and kind affirmations. But the dark chosen ones, we don't have that luxury, because once the darkness chooses you, your soul becomes a vessel for truth, too deep, too ancient, too raw to be contained by surface-level spirituality. There is no going back. You are now in a contract with the unseen. But why does it choose you? It's not because you're broken. It's not because you're cursed. It's because something in you carries the capacity to hold both light and void without collapsing. You are the storm and the eye of the storm. You are the blade and the hand that wields it. The darkness chooses those who have the spiritual nervous system to carry paradox, to carry the unbearable weight of truth, and not run, not deny, not numb. Have you ever felt like you're being called into responsibilities you didn't ask for? Like you're being asked to carry truths that no one else around you wants to face? That's not a coincidence. That's not a mistake. That's the mark of the dark chosen one. The universe will keep sending you into the fire until you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what is this fire shaping me into? Let me be clear, darkness is not your identity. It is your initiation. It's not here to define you, but to refine you, to carve away everything false, everything performative, everything that isn't aligned with your core essence. And that process is not gentle, it is not polite, it is not Instagrammable. It's grief, rage, silence, dissolution. But within that crucible, something extraordinary is being born. You. And here's the paradox that most people never understand. The deeper you go into your darkness, the more you become a bringer of light. Not the fragile kind of light that flickers in the wind of adversity, but the kind of light that was earned, tempered, fused with shadow. That's the light that heals without needing to be seen. That's the light that doesn't need applause. That's the light that can walk into the suffering of others and not flinch. But there is a price. There is always a price. When the darkness chooses you, it doesn't just awaken your gifts, it awakens your karma. It brings to the surface every unhealed wound, every unfinished cycle, every ancestral burden you were born to break. It doesn't care about your comfort, it cares about your capacity to transmute. And that's why you feel heavy. That's why you feel tired, even when you're doing everything right, because you are carrying more than just your own weight. You are carrying timelines, legacies, shadows that were never yours, but became yours the moment you agreed, consciously or unconsciously, to be the one who ends it. Have you ever sat in a room full of people and felt like you were the only one who could sense the unsaid grief, the unseen tension, the energetic heaviness no one was naming? That's not paranoia. That's your gift. You're not just sensitive, you're a radar, a mirror, a psychic pressure valve for the unconscious. The darkness sees that, and it chooses you not to punish you, but to train you. And the training is brutal. It strips away your illusions of control. It crushes your egoic ambitions. It corners you until your only option is to surrender. not in defeat, but in devotion. Devotion to your truth, devotion to your purpose, devotion to the path no one else can walk but you. But here's the secret. The more you surrender, the more the darkness reveals its hidden face, and that face is love. Not the soft, romantic kind, but the fierce, unconditional love that would rather break you than let you stay small. The kind of love that says, I will destroy your illusions to free your soul. That is the love of the shadow. That is the love of the void. And that is the love that awakens the God within you. So I ask you, are you willing to be chosen, not just by the light, but by the dark? Are you willing to carry the weight that purifies, to step into the fire that doesn't burn you but burns through you? Are you willing to become the version of yourself that no one, not even you, has met yet? Because if you are, then the law is already in motion, the gravity is already pulling, and the only path now is through, becoming the gate, where light and dark kneel before you. There comes a point on the dark path where you no longer belong to one side, not entirely of the light, not fully of the shadow. You become something else, something rare, something that cannot be defined by duality. You become the threshold, the gate, the one who stands between worlds, the one who carries both love and wrath in the same breath, the one who sees what others refuse to see, feels what others are terrified to feel, and still walks forward. Positive, unshaken, unapologetic, awake. You didn't ask for this role, you were sculpted into it. Through fire, through silence, through collapse, through the kind of spiritual pressure that would have broken a lesser soul, but not you. Because there's something in you that refuses to die. Not your body, your truth. And that truth has been forged in a place that most never dare to descend into. That truth was whispered to you not in temples or scriptures, but in the dark night of your soul, when no one was watching and no one came to save you. This is where the law of shadow gravity reaches its climax. It no longer pulls you down, it begins to form you. It molds your nervous system into a conduit for energy most humans can't hold. It turns your eyes into mirrors that reflect not just appearances but essence. It turns your presence into a frequency that bends reality around it. Not because you are trying to be powerful, but because you've become empty of lies, and truth, real truth, is the most gravitational force in the universe. You become the gate, not a guru, not an influencer, a threshold, a living invitation to transformation. People will come to you and not know why they feel stripped bare in your presence, why they cry or rage or confess their deepest wounds without understanding what they're doing. It's because your field is no longer personal, it's archetypal. Your energy doesn't care about politeness, it cares about liberation, and that liberation begins when masks fall, when shadows are faced, when truth is spoken. And yet this power demands the deepest humility, because when you become the gate, you are no longer the main character, you are the space, the silence, the altar upon which illusions are sacrificed. That means your life will not look like others. You will not chase what they chase. You will not desire what they desire. You may even lose everything that made you feel safe, relationships, roles, reputations, but in return, you gain something sacred, alignment with your essence. Your essence does not crave fame, it craves impact. It does not seek followers, it seeks awakening. And when you are aligned with that, light and dark no longer battle within you, they kneel before you. They recognize you as one who has passed through both of their initiations, one who can wield light without arrogance and shadow without corruption, one who can be trusted with truth. Can you feel that possibility in your bones, that quiet knowing that you were never meant to fit in, but to break the mold entirely, that your scars are not signs of trauma, but of initiation? That your solitude wasn't abandonment, it was preparation. Ask yourself this: what if the reason you feel so different, so heavy, so out of place, is because you were never meant to be part of the old world? What if you are here to build the new one, not with your hands, but with your presence, with your frequency, with the way you hold space for others to confront their own shadow and survive it? That is the mark of the true gate. Not someone who saves others, but someone who stands so deeply in their own truth that they become the mirror through which others remember theirs. That is your gift. That is your burden. That is your destiny. But it doesn't end here. The final descent, dying before the world knows your name. There is a final test in the path of the dark chosen one, and it is the most silent, the most invisible, the most misunderstood. It is not about conquering the shadow or balancing the light. It is about vanishing. It is about dying. Not physically, but spiritually, egoically, cosmically, before the world ever validates your existence. It is the moment you realize that everything you've become, everything you've sacrificed, everything you've endured may never be recognized, and yet you still walk the path. This is the final descent, the part no one prepares you for, the phase where you are emptied of the last illusions, even the noble ones. You no longer fight for your purpose, you become it. You no longer speak truth to be heard, you speak it because it is truth. You no longer desire to be seen, you are willing to be invisible, to disappear into the background of the collective dream, knowing that your vibration alone is shifting what words never could. This descent is not glamorous, it is not cinematic, it is not social media friendly. It is quiet, lonely, sacred. You begin to lose the need to convince, to teach, to gather. You see the world rushing toward noise, and you walk deeper into silence. You see people building platforms, and you build an altar in your chest. You carry your truth like a flame in the wind, gentle, protected, unwavering. And here's the paradox: it is in this death that you become most alive. Because now there is nothing left to prove. No more performances, no more masks, just presence, just essence, just you, raw and real, standing at the edge of the abyss, not as a victim, not as a hero, but as a witness to the infinite. Only a few ever reach this place. Most turn back when the applause fades, when the gifts don't manifest, when the rewards don't come wrapped in gold. But those who stay, those who descend all the way to the bottom, they are the ones who change reality itself, not because they shout, but because they transmit. Their very being becomes a prayer, a frequency, a code. You may never be famous, you may never be understood, but the trees will recognize you, the wind will bow, the spirits will whisper your name in the corridors of the unseen, because they know what you did. They know the weight you carried. They know that you said yes when everything in you screamed no, that you obeyed a truth no one else could hear, and you did it without needing to be thanked. This is the final gift of the law of shadow gravity. When you descend to your deepest point, you realize there was never a shadow pulling you down. It was your soul calling you home. The gravity was not punishment. It was alignment. It was destiny. It was every ancestor, every past life, every sacred vow whispering, "Become who you were before the world told you who to be." You are not meant to be a star in the sky. You are the black hole that bends galaxies around your silence. You are not the flame. You are the void that gave the flame its shape. You are not here to be admired. You are here to reveal. And sometimes that revelation comes with letting go of being seen at all. So I leave you with this. If no one ever claps for you, if no one ever follows you, if no one ever knows your name, would you still walk the path? Would you still descend into the dark to retrieve the pieces of yourself? Would you still offer your life to something greater than your own comfort? Because if your answer is yes, then you have already won. You have already become the embodiment of everything this path demands. And that, my friend, is the rarest power of all. You have become the one that even the shadow kneels to, the one who died before the world ever knew your name. And in that death, you are finally, eternally free.